Welcome to The Writer's Dream. This is a show where authors are able to talk about how they write their books, how they publish their books, and how they market their books. You can find us on Facebook. We have a page called The Writer's Dream. If you want to be on the show or you have a question about the show, please message me on that Facebook page. You can also find us here at ltveh.org. They have video on demand. Just search The Writer's Dream and you will find many guests. We have, all told, I've done about, I would say, close to 200 guests so far. You can find us on Cablevision. We are on Thursday afternoon, Channel 20, all over Long Island at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, who is Lois Schmitt. And Lois Schmitt is the author of a new mystery series, the Christy Farrell Mysteries. And the latest one is called Something Fishy. Something Fishy has won a second runner-up on the Claymore Annual Award, and that is from a Nashville, the Killer Nashville, what a name for a book. The
Killer Nashville
Conference. And the first one was Monkey Business. And Lois is really, previously she was the Education Director and Media Spokesperson for Nassau County Office of Consumer Affairs. And she's also written Smart Spending, which is very important for young readers. And she currently teaches at Nassau Community College, teaches economics, right?
Personal finance.
And so very, very impressive. So what sent you to mystery writing?
Okay. Well, I've always loved mysteries, particularly the cozy genre. And I love to write, so it just was inevitable that I would write a mystery.
Okay, what's a cozy?
Okay, a cozy, there's several definitions. Basically, they're almost always amateur sleuths whose profession leads them into the crime. Some of them are, might be involved with food, or maybe they own a bookstore, or they're into some sort of crafts, quilting. In my case, it's wildlife. My character, Christy Farrell, is a wildlife reporter, a reporter for a wildlife magazine. So my first mystery took place at a zoo. The second one, Something Fishy, takes place at an aquarium.
Yeah, and one of your passions is animal.
I love animals.
Animal rescue, the Humane Society, and so that's a very popular topic. So I would think that.
Well, there's lots of animals. Christy's husband and daughter, and her daughter assists her in solving the cases, are both veterinarians. So there's a lot of animals besides their own dogs and cats. There's the animals at the vet hospital that get into it sometimes, and of course the zoo, and in this case the aquarium. The sea lion trainer is a very pivotal role in this book, so you get to see a little bit about sea lions.
And the nice thing about it is that when people read these, not only is there a mystery, but they're going to learn something about animals.
Hopefully.
And I think that's always
Thank
good.
you.
I like a book where I learn something.
Me too. Thank you. Yeah,
I don't.
do too.
You know, it's fine to have a book that's a good story, just about. But I like something. I like to be able to learn something as well. So,
I
but
do
that's
too.
just
I
my.
enjoy the cozy. Some of the cozies that I read, I do learn a lot. One of them. I love the Gaslight series by Victoria Thompson, and it's turn of the century New York. You learn a lot about what life was like then. And Lorian Berenson does the dog series, and she shows poodles, and you learn a lot about that from reading her book. So I
know
agree
there's
with that.
one series, and I cannot remember the name of it, but the detectives, two Siamese cats.
Oh yes, Lillian Jackson Braun was the author. Yes, yes.
Okay,
The Cat Who series, I think it was called.
I think so, yeah. So I'm going to ask you to do something that I ask a lot of authors to do. Give us an elevator pitch. For the audience, an elevator pitch is a very short message that you would give on an elevator ride to somebody who might actually be able to publish or advertise your book. And it's short but sweet and very compelling.
Well,
go for it.
If you like cozy mysteries and the world of animals, my book, Something Fishy, has them both. In the book, when the body of a worker from a local aquarium is found floating in the bay, Christy Farrell, a wildlife magazine reporter, starts investigating, and she's assisted by her veterinarian daughter. The two find some weak alibis and powerful motives among the staff at the aquarium. Then accidents begin occurring at the aquarium, and a second murder occurs. But that's not the only problem Christy faces. While she's doing that, her widowed mother announces her engagement. And Christy suspects, well, her mom's soon-to-be husband may not be all he appears to be. So while she tries to check that out before her mother ties the knot, she also races the clock to find the aquarium killer before he or she strikes again. And it's a book that has a suspense, a good puzzle, a mystery puzzle, interesting characters, I think, humor, and lots of animals.
Okay, so you have interesting settings, your plots are a mystery, and tell us more about Christy.
Okay, well, she is a former English teacher who decided she wanted a change of career midlife. So she leaves her tenured teaching job, which isn't easy to do, and she gets a job for a wildlife magazine as a reporter. And this is what she did. She's married. Her husband is a veterinarian. Her daughter is a veterinarian. They work together. And she has 2 dogs, a cat, and that's their family.
All right, so she's a person she's a person that you could get to know yourself, and
yes,
she's
yes.
sympathetic.
Right.
And because I believe that when you write a book, especially a series, your main character has to be engaging. People have to, you know, you can have a great story, but if they don't love your character,
yes, yeah.
It's because why do people love to go back to the same author and hope that the same author writes, you know, books after books after books?
Exactly. I think it's the same thing. People have to like the character, and I hope she's likable. I think she is. I've heard she is from some of the readers.
Sure. I go to Agatha Christie, who is, of course, the grande dame of mystery.
Yes.
Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple.
Right.
And these are, and talk about cozies.
They're quirky, and but they're very, very likable.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what you like about them, because one thing is they're likable, but the other thing is you're trying to figure them out.
Exactly.
Okay.
What makes them tick.
So, was there one person in your life who inspired you to write?
Well, I've always had the support of my family. My late husband and my daughter have always been supportive. And as you know, with writing, it's not always easy. You do get rejections. It's a long haul. So I've always had their support. Aside from that, I did take a course at Hofstra University during this one summer. They have a Summer's Writers program. I don't know if they still have it. I think they do. But I took a course there, and the instructor was Reed Farrell Coleman. He is an author. He does the Mole Prager series. He now does, I believe, the Jesse Stone, the Robert Parker, since Robert Parker passed away, he has taken over those books. And anyway, he was the instructor, and I learned a lot from him. One of the things I learned through just the assignments that they gave in the class were that I have a New York sense of humor, and when I incorporate that into my writing, it's much better. So I did incorporate a lot of humor. Christy has a very dry sense of humor, and so do the other members of her family.
So do you, I'm fascinated by this humor part, because I try to put little jokes into my books too. Do you think that that you're really Christy? Christy is you?
People have asked me that. I don't know.
I get
don't
asked that
think
all the
so.
time.
I don't. I think some of the qualities that I have are in there, but not all of them. She has other qualities too.
Yeah, well, I think you try to do that. You try to
make them a little better,
Because
probably.
I did my books, I had my books done in audio. So mine are, they're available on Audible. And everyone said, well, did you read it? Did you read the books for Audible? And I said, no, because I don't sound like a 17-year-old girl.
Yes.
I had to get somebody who sounds younger.
Well, Christy is younger than I am. She's in her 40s, and she has a daughter who's in her 20s.
How did you publish?
I published through, this is Encircle, which is a small publisher.
Small press.
And I'm very happy with them.
What's the name of it?
Encircle Publications.
Okay, where are they based?
They're based out of Maine.
Okay, yeah, all right, Maine. That's not too far away, not that you had to go there.
No, I did not have to go there.
Did you do everything online? You send them a manuscript online?
Yes, I did. But I actually was a story. I actually met my editor, the original editor, who's not editor anymore, but the original editor at this Kill in Nashville conference, Mystery Writers Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. They have this conference once a year, and I went down, and it was wonderful. They have editors and agents there, and you basically get to pitch your book, like I did, not so much with the elevator pitch, but they will read a couple of pages, and if they like it, and in this case, one of the editors of Denny Dietz, her name was, she said, you can send it to me, send me the manuscript. And I sent her the manuscript, and she emailed me back. Of course, it was all done online. She emailed me back and said, yes, we like it. I'd like you to make these following changes. And she had 3 minor changes, and I did. And they published it.
Yeah, that's great, because you've hit on two what I think are main points that somebody who's just starting to write and publish and market, you hit on 2 very important points. One of them is workshops.
Oh, yes.
And writing circles and getting together with, or taking a course.
Right.
I did the same thing. Because when I decided to write, I was a science teacher. What did I know about writing a book? I mean, you know, you read books and you kind of figure out, well, yeah, there's chapters, and, you know, you kind of figure out the format and whatnot.
Somebody said to me that when you start writing, you read in a whole different way, and you do.
Oh, you do. Oh, absolutely. But I took a course, and I took 2 or 3 courses, and they were invaluable. And then also sitting down with other writers and having them read your stuff and critique it, having a reviewer. And the other point is editing. You really, really need to have a good editor. And my first 2 books I published with a self-publishing company, and they did an editorial review, and then they offered editorial services. So for the first 2 books, I took all of those services because I really felt I wanted to produce the best product that I could. And so, that's important, learning how to write, even if you're, I ask people, I ask this very silly question. I've come to realize it's a silly question. Are you a trained writer? Well, what's a trained writer? I mean, maybe if you go to journalism school, they teach you a certain kind of writing.
A certain kind of writing, yeah.
And then what you realize is that most people, no matter what their major was, they have to learn how to write. Most people are not just a natural. I mean, they can. You're a natural writer, but then it needs to be tweaked.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
To speak. And
I remember hearing Mary Higgins Clark at a conference, and she said, it's telling a good story. And that's basically what it is. Is it a story that keeps people interested? Because sometimes you can get bogged down in details, and they're not that interesting to the public. So you have to be able to tell a good story.
Well, that's really when people say, well, you're an author, and I think to myself, I don't say it, but I think to myself, no, I'm a storyteller. I like to tell a story.
Exactly.
And I find that for me, 2 things are really the most fun. Research.
Yes,
the research
of
the background, the setting, what I want to put in the book as far as history and science is concerned, that's fun because I learn things. And the other part is putting together a construct, because I do everything from outlines and flowcharts and whatnot. And then the actual sitting down and writing is like, okay, now I have to write this, and it's not as much fun. But
funny, I
coming
agree.
up with the story is
Yep.
really, that's
Coming up
fun.
with the plot, doing the outline,
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are your books as successful as you'd like them to be?
Well, I guess everybody would like to wake up one morning and find their #1 on the New York Times bestseller
See, I
list.
gave up on that.
Oh, I did too.
And it makes me much happier.
Me too. But yes, I'm happy with it. I think as long as I sell enough that the publisher says, write us another book, and that the people who are reading the book, the readers, like the book, that to me is successful.
So, what do you do to market?
Okay, I do a variety of things. Social media, I have a website, loisschmitt.com, a Facebook page, Lois Schmitt Author, and I tweet a little bit. So I'm not on Instagram yet. I'm thinking of going on that, but I do the social media. I've done a little bit of advertising. I did for Monkey Business, and I'm doing it again for Something Fishy. Take out an ad in Mystery Scene magazine, which is directed at mystery readers, and I've done book signings and talks at different organizations, and so where I
What
could
kind of organizations?
women's clubs, things like that.
Yeah. Libraries?
I haven't yet. That's what I want to focus on with this book too. I'm thinking of actually making up the Massapequa Library bought the book and everything, but thinking of making up a discussion guide for book clubs on the book,
Yes.
and then going to the different libraries,
But
presenting it to the different libraries.
Let me give you a suggestion about libraries. Libraries are not great for book talks because they have so many authors who want to do
Right.
that. Come up with a lecture about animals, about sea life,
That's-
about zoos. Come up with a couple of lectures and
right.
offer them a flyer that you will do either for kids or for adults because there are a lot of people who are interested in animals.
Right.
And then you can talk about your books as well, because that's what I do. I had no luck with, Massapequa Library, because I live there.
Right.
They'll let you do it. But they're not interested in book talks because they can get authors who are more famous than we are.
Exactly.
But what I did was I came up with 7 lectures, and they're topics in forensic science, and they are very popular.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so that's one way that you can market the books and also get into the libraries. And
yeah.
also the organizations like the women's clubs and the men's clubs and the senior citizens, et cetera, and also continuing education
right.
in the different
School districts,
universities, that they want lectures. They want you to be an expert on a particular topic. And I just did a lecture yesterday at Malloy, and it was on plants, poisons, and plots.
That sounds interesting.
So,
yes.
I have not poisoned anybody in any of my books,
Oh,
but
really?
actually
Okay.
what I did...
Well, I
because-
have in both.
Oh, there you go. There you go. But the lecture was about... the background of it is toxicology, which is a branch of forensic
Right.
science, and how authors like Agatha Christie use poisons in their plots. So that's how you really have to market your books. You have to come up with something clever that people want to see.
Right, something different.
And then do you belong to any author organizations?
I belong to Mystery Writers of America, the New York chapter.
Yeah, I do
And-
too.
yeah.
But that's... They do readings every once in a while where you can do your readings, but
Yeah.
basically what you're dealing with there is you're in competition with a lot of
Very
famous
well-known.
authors.
Yes, you are. Yes,
So
you
if
are.
you join local author organizations like the Long Island Writers Guild or Long
That's what
Island
I
Authors
would like
Group,
to do, yes.
I know my group, Long Island Authors Group, we do fairs, we do book fairs, so you have an opportunity just to sell your books without any other,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
any other responsibilities
Right.
other than to come with your books and sell them. So that's a way to get out there as well. And we're doing our best to really get into the libraries, and we're doing a big push to market the books of our members. So those are all. Another thing is you haven't done any TV interviews except this one.
Yes, this is the first one.
Okay,
I
so-
did when Smart Spending came out, which was a lifetime ago, I did do a TV interview then on Cablevision.
Okay.
But that was, as I said, a lifetime ago. That
Right,
was,
so
I wrote
you-
that book. That book came back out in 1989. So we're talking a long
Now look
time
into
ago.
the author's show. The author's show will offer you a free interview, one free interview.
Oh, that's great.
And then they offer, various marketing packages that are really not that expensive, because that's the problem. I mean, everyone tells you book reviews. Have you got any book reviews?
The publisher's working on that right now. So we're
Okay,
doing,
good.
yeah.
Because you could get a book review from Kirkus, but Kirkus, it's like $500.
Wow.
So, you try to look for people who will review books or do a blog tour.
Right.
So you can Google all of those things. And I've done them all.
I know.
And I'm not a bestseller. So, but they were fun.
It's fun. That's the main thing. It's
They
fun
were
to
fun.
write, and as long as the people who are
And
reading
people
them
said
enjoy
nice
them.
things about the books.
That's great.
I think basically that's really why I do it. I don't know. So, and you've used local resources like the Barnes and Noble.
Yes, I
in
have. They were
Massapequa.
wonderful. They were
Have you
wonderful.
tried the book review, doing a...
No, because I
How-
thought I did it at Barnes and Noble's.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in Massapequa. There's a Barnes and Noble store where I go to all the time. I'll buy a lot of things online, but I don't buy books online because I don't want the brick and mortar bookstores to
Yeah,
go
I
out of
know.
business. So I'm always in Barnes and Nobles, and the manager there was wonderful. He set up for me a book signing for Monkey Business, and I want to see him probably next week to set up one for Something Fishy. This comes out July 15th. So I want to set something for the end of July there.
Now, I think for the people who watch the show, we were talking before, and you were talking about how you got people to come to your events. You want to share that?
Sure. Well, for Monkey Business, what I did is I arranged for the book signing, and when I was talking to the manager, I said, I think you should order about 100 books. And I could tell by the way he was looking at me that he thought, really, 100? You're probably lucky if you sell 20. But he ordered. He took my word on it, and he ordered. And actually what happened is I not only sold 100 books, they ran out, and they had to order about 15 more for people. And I think the reason was, number one, I am active in my community. My family's been there a long time, and we knew a lot of people. And what I did is I sent out a flyer to basically my Christmas card list.
Yeah.
And just people, I went down like, who do I know from the PTA 20 years ago? And
You have to build an email
I built an
list,
email,
a
yeah.
contact
And this
list.
was a contact list, and I'd sent out actual flyers, snail mail. And this year I'll probably do both the snail mail and the email to contact people. But it was successful. It really worked out.
Now, you sold 100 books at the
At
event?
the Barnes, at the event, and they had to
Wow.
order about
That is-
15,
that's-
and they had to order about 15 more for people who came in, and they were out of books.
So that's a testimony to how important it is to have a contact
That
list.
list, yes, yes.
And you think about all of the people, if you have kids, you were maybe active in the PTA, or
things-
you did Little League, or any
Anything
of those,
like that.
All those people.
And people do like to buy if they know you.
Yeah, yes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll
that's
buy
true.
books even out of the genre that I read all the time, just because I know the person.
Okay, so every writer takes a journey. What's unique about yours?
Well, I guess it was that I always liked to write. I guess the first time back to when I was in Brownies, I wrote a play that they used for the moving up ceremony. So I always liked to write. I always loved mysteries. I always loved animals. So I think it was just inevitable that that's what I would write. And along the way, I learned a lot. I learned how to write. I really think I refined a lot of skills in learning how to write, and also I learned a lot about animals. The first book deals with endangered species. It deals with the illegal wildlife trade, animal smuggling, poaching, and hard. But I learned a lot from that. And the dangers of the sea, things about sharks, things about
Plastic.
all types of Yeah, the environment. This deals very much, there's a land grab involved here. So where the aquarium is looking to buy property to have a research camp for marine scientists, and a developer wants to buy it for condominiums, so we're getting into that.
So have you used the Riverhead Library at all? I'm sorry, aquarium, the Riverhead Aquarium?
I've been there many times.
Yeah.
I love it.
Have you
It's
done
beautiful.
a signing there? I bet they'd let you do a signing with us.
I haven't, but I'm thinking of going to them and asking them about that. But this does take place, it's a fictional aquarium, but it does take place on Long Island. Again, I don't specify any particular communities, but it does take place on Long Island because that's where I live. That's what I know about, so I feel very comfortable writing about that.
I'll tell you a little funny story about my own writing very quickly, and then I have another question for you because we're running out of time. I'm writing another book, not the Annie Tillery mystery series. It's about Catholic school kids who are going to solve a mystery. They live in a fictitious town on Long Island, fictitious island. And it's so funny that you say that you didn't specify anything. I didn't even specify time, and then all of a sudden I realized, no, I'm going to make this in 1946 because I don't want to deal with cell phones, iPads, or any of those other things. So what's...
Well, that's one of the things that's funny is that Christy is not the most tech savvy, but her daughter is, the vet.
Yeah, so you always have somebody to go to. Yeah, well, I'm just taking it back to 1946.
With that in the
She's
book
got a
too.
rotary phone.
Yeah.
So what's in the future for you?
Well, I'm planning on writing a third book. I have the title. It's a working title. I'm just starting on it. It's called Playing Possum, and it takes place at a preserve on Long Island.
Okay, so we have one of those.
Yeah, yes.
Actually, we have one in Massapequa.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
There's quite a bit of wildlife in there.
Yeah.
Actually, the wildlife is so successful, I now have rabbits in my yard, which hasn't happened for a long time.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny you should say that because we've seen a lot of rabbits, and there's a lot actually by the Massapequa Railroad Station in that park there. Yeah.
So, good luck with these books.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure talking to you. We have so much in common. And thanks for doing the interview.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and good luck with your books too.
Oh, thanks. Something fishy.